Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar on 8th of August. Today we're gonna talk about pivot points. You might have noticed that I'm using it very often in my analysis in the analysis at hotforex.com website. So before we go through our today's session for pivot points, let's go through the admin first. Okay. As usual, if you have any audio or visual issue, don't hesitate to contact me. Stick it in the box and we'll try to check if it's from my side, the problem. Otherwise, please log in and log out again to webinars, to go to webinars software, or check your computer settings. So since we have a restriction of 1 hour session, if there is any kind of question that you want me to cover, you want me to reply to, but due to the time limit, I don't manage to, please contact me at webinars@hotforex.com. Me and Sierra will try to reply on spot. That was all that. So disclaimer, admin as usual, this material is provided as a general marketing communication for informational purposes only. Nothing in this communication contains or should be considered as containing investment advice or an investment recommendation or solicitation for the purpose of purchase or sale of any financial instrument. We make no representation, assume no liability as to the accuracy or completeness of any information provided, and we should not be held liable for any loss arising from any investment made based on the information provided in this communication. These communications must not be reproduced or further distributed without our prior written permission. Risk warning: trading in Forex and CFDs may not be suitable for investors and carries a high degree of risk to your capital. Trading such products is risky and you may lose all of your investment capital. So admin is out of the way. Quickly, that's me. I'm nearly a year and a half in Hot Forex as a market analyst. So I have gained a bachelor degree in mathematics and physics in the University of Bath in UK, and a master's degree in mathematics and a postgraduate diploma in actuarial science. So my mission here is to actually help you guys. My missions, your missions, in general, our team's mission is to help you becoming better traders. That's why we are constantly uploading reports saying why what every technical and fundamental aspect is presenting to the market. So if you go through all the analysis page, read the reports, you will actually get improved to your trading, and you could get benefit on how to actually read the market, if I can say that, what things you have to take care of, either in a technical perspective or fundamental perspective. So that was me. So as I already mentioned, today our webinar is exclusively for pivot points and how to trade for pivot points. So we'll see what pivot points are, their characteristics, pivot points and trade signals, how you can use pivot points as support and resistance levels, or identify support and resistance level by using pivot points, how effective that could be, and how to use them also in a multiple time frame, because each one of us has a different strategy in his trading, right? I like H4 4-hour charts and daily ones, even weekly sometimes. You might be an intraday trader, like even half an hour, 15 minutes, and etc. So pivot points can be applied in multiple time frames. So nowadays, thank God, you can find. So guys, because I didn't have any interaction with you so far, is everyone listening me loud and clear? Is there any audio visual issue? Nothing? Are you all here with me? No, just a quick yes. Okay, thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Second. Thank you. So nowadays, thank God, as I already taught you, with technology, you can actually find very easy codes for identification of pivot points. So we actually have already indicators. Already ready indicators in the MetaTrader that actually provide us without doing anything the pivot points, support, and there's three supports and three resistance levels. So it's nothing that you could do manually. You could do it manually as well, but in the premium traders tools that we have launched this year, if I'm not wrong, no, since last year, we have a ready package for pivot point analysis. So just before we go through our webinar, let me present it to you. So if you go to Hot Forex website, okay, tools, premium trader tools, okay. So the premium trader tools is actually a new traders tools that some new traders tools that we have launched. So it combines a lot of things. But if you go through like at the bottom of it, this is MT4 and MT5 indicator package. So one of the indicators that premium tools are offering is also pivot points. So without actually doing anything, pivot points are actually plotted for you without having without you doing anything manually, any calculation, etc. So these indicators are drawing the pivot points in a daily basis, hourly basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, and in general you can modify it as you wish. So this is already this is something that you could consider if you like trading with pivot points, if you find it easy for you. So you will see today. Is any one of you actually use pivot points in his trading analysis so far? I'm a quite fan of them actually. Sometimes okay, yep, no, okay, cool. So okay, before I show you how they could be applied, let's see let's go back to the theory of it, just to realize what they actual are and what they presenting to you. So determination of pivot points. Pivot points, guys, is just simply some significant levels, let's say, that are used in technical analysis in the market. In the market in general, I mean either stocks, currency pairs, and in general. So these significant levels, these key levels, are helping us are used to determine the overall trend of the market over different time frames, as I said. So it is an actual technical analysis indicator which could be used for identify potential support levels and resistance levels. So based on this, you will be able very easily to determine, first of all, the overall trend of the market in every single time frame that you wish, but also potential support and resistance levels, as I already told you. So this is once again is another technical analysis indicator, as all of them, as all the rest that we have seen so far. So how is it actually calculated? So simply, pivot points, it's the average of the high, low, and closing price of the previous trading day. So don't stick to the day. I mean, If you're in a daily basis, then okay, this is the high, low, and close of the previous day over 3. So that's an average. If you are in an hourly time frame, that means that is the average level of high, low, and close of the previous hour. So don't stick on the day on this mathematical formula that I'm suggesting that it's a daily. No, it depends on your time frame. So if you have chose the pivot point indicator for a daily basis, then it gives you the average of the previous day. If you are in a 4-hour chart, then it gives you the average of the previous 4-hour session. Okay. So I consider P, as I mentioned, a very straightforward indicator. So if you have already have the pivot point in your analysis, what it actually suggests to you, what it's actually presenting to you on the next day, is that any kind of trading, any kind of move above the pivot point indicates an overall, let's say, bullish sentiment. Anything if your asset is actually traded below the pivot points, then that suggests a bearish sentiment. So as I already mentioned, as every single other indicator, it is based on this mathematical calculation and this formula that I'm having in my slide over here. That's why it's very, very important to understand that it's completely objective. And the fact that they are actually widely used by many economists, many analysts, it makes them so successful. So think about it, like, if it's widely used, okay, then actually end up working because everyone is expecting them to react in the same way at those specific levels. So most of the traders are placing, let's say, their buying or sell position at those levels. So at the end, it ends up to work, like to hit the price at that particular level. Okay, so far so good. Yes, I assume I don't have any questions. So, okay, it's a lot of theory. Sorry about the lot of it's quite a wordy slides, but I need to cover the theory of it. So, okay, so let's now see some of the characteristics of pivot points and the reason for using them in detail. So, the most important reason for using pivots is first, and the most important of all, actually, the fact that you can predict before the market opens, because as I already mentioned, it is based on the previous day's performance. Remember, it's an average of the high, low, and close price of the previous day. So the next day, you already have the pivot level before the market actually opens. So so you can actually start your day without actually worrying what you are not prepared for that you're not prepared for the day ahead. You're already prepared because pivot point is already being calculated and you already know it prior the market opens. So you can simply put the pivot point indicators on your charts and like leave them as they are. So every single day in the morning you be aware of the pivot point level and potential support and resistance levels. Hence, once you have identified anything that triggered your attention, any break of pivot point below or above that, then you know when and how to exactly enter without any hassle. So the good with it, the benefit of using pivot points analysis is that as I mentioned in the third bullet point over here, okay, it's predictive. Sorry, second one. It's predictive nature, the fact that it gives you a kind of prediction for the day ahead, gives in your in your daily trading confidence. Also, if as I mention in every single webinar that I'm doing, it's good to combine different indicators in your trading strategy. So don't stick with one indicator. Use another one or two just for confidence. So if everything is in agree, so that gives you confidence and confirmation of your potential entry into the market. So if let's say people point suggest to go bullish, and you have also MACD that suggests that there is an increase of the upside momentum, so that those two are in agree. So the only thing that you have to do is watch the candles as well, and you have the confirmation and the confidence that you need to enter the market, let's say with a long position. So it gives confidence and confidence in your daily trading system. So what else? People, okay, no questions. Sorry. Okay. Also, with pivot points, you can trade on the direction that pivot point analysis points to you. So you will never go short if you will never go short if there is a buying pivot, or long if on a sell pivot. So again, the predictive nature allows you to be clear with the transactions you will do for that day. There are some choppy days, of course. We have seen that market is going up, it's going down, but it's going sideways as well. So, however, the benefit from pivot points is that they can easily be used in a ranking market as well, just in a shorter time frame sometimes, but they can easily be allow you actually to benefit on a ranking market. So, as I said, in every single time frame, in any single asset, stocks, currency pair, shares, indices, commodities, etc., since they are easily adjustable. And scalper or not, if it fits very well with your trading style, then use it. Just check prior using it that it indeed satisfies your trading system. Sorry. So let's move on. Last but not least, it's my last point in this slide. Pivot points can be also used in identifying a trend, or a trend reversal, or a breakout or a breakout area. So it helps you actually to stop out before things get worse. That's in an extremely in the situation that you have seen. Like the asset breaking, hitting the third support level, or the third resistance level. So depending on the if the movement is very, very sharp and breaks all the support levels, then we have an indication whether it's likely to hit in a is likely to identify a trend, or maybe a breakout area, or if we have seen a consolidation above support level or below support above the support level, then we know that that it might not have further steam to the downside, so we might have a trend reversal. So it gives you also some signs whether we end up with a trend reversal. So it can be used with that way as well. but we will see this in examples in the MT4, so don't worry about it. What different settings are there? Which ones recommend? Okay, Henrik, I will go through. Okay, let me finish with this, and we'll see examples and which different settings you can use in the MT4 platform. So before I go through my MT4 platform, let's have a look just briefly how they are calculated. As I already mentioned, the pivot point is associated with support and resistance level and are calculated based on the last trading session open, high, low, and close price. So that's why I already told you that the pivot points allow you to prepare for the next day. So you can take today's high, low, and close price in order to find, let's say, the pivot point support and resistance level for tomorrow. Just briefly, because with the tools that we already have in the MT4, you don't really need to calculate it, but just for you to be aware, like the one in your mind is that I will just briefly say to the first one that the first level of support. Let me show you how it looks like, just to make sure that everyone is on the same side with me. So let's say, can you see my? Okay, now my MT4 is on. Okay, let me clear everything. So as I already mentioned, it's an indicator that is provided through our Premium Traders Tool package. So if you have downloaded the Premium Traders Tool package, you can see it on the navigator over here with the name called Hot Forex Pivot. So what you have to do is just drag and drop it to your chart. Simple as that. And to choose the time frame for pivot points. So Henrik actually asked me what different settings are there and which do we recommend. Actually, the settings can be changed in this window over here. So it is by default is the daily time frame. However, you can see we have every single time frame available. So 1 minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. So it's up to you. If you're trading an hourly basis, then it's good to click on the H1. If you're a daily trader, stick on the daily time frame. So I will remain with the default one. I cannot actually advise you which one, which time frame to use. It depends what time frame. It depends on your trading system. Are you usually trading a daily basis, in hourly basis? It's up to you. So you're changing depending on your trading style. So I'm using the default one, the daily one. So okay, so I'm just clicking OK, and automatically you can see that pivot point line was drawn with this orange line, and we have 3 resistance area for the day, for today, for the day, okay, and 3 support areas below as well. So this is how it looks like, okay. These bright colors, actually, they are very, very helpful. As I said, they're like straightforward. No need to think about there's no need to, like, you don't hesitate with everything. Is just plotted over there very, very quickly. And what you have to do is like take care whether your price is moving below pivot point or above pivot point, or if your immediate support and resistance level have been broken. So how did custom pivot? Okay, Joy, actually it's on the navigator list over here, see. So or you could just go in the tools bar over here. insert indicators. Not sure actually if it's in here. Custom, and is hot forex pivot. Okay. Or otherwise, if you have the navigator on the left hand side, is hot forex pivot. I just drag and drop it. Drag and drop it into the chart. But I have to highlight again here that it's a premium traders tools. If you don't have if you haven't downloaded the premium traders tool from our website, you won't be able to use this indicator. Then you can either do it manually, but it's a lot of a hassle actually. So let me go back to our slides just briefly, how they can calculate. So the first support and the first resistance is the one that, so in the MT4, so the first resistance area is this one we're currently at the gold chart. So it says that the first resistance for the day, the immediate resistance for gold for today is at 12.15 and the immediate support is 12.06. So how these are calculated simply is sorry. So simply it takes it doubles the pivot point minus the low of the previous period. So is double the pivot point of yesterday's session minus the low of yesterday's session. So because I have chose, you remember on the settings I chose daily pivot point analysis. So these levels reflect the previous days high, low, and close price. So they have been calculated based on yesterday's performance, okay, of the gold. Okay, I will not spend much time on the calculation of it. It's over here. Support one is calculated by pivot point minus the high of the previous period. If you're in daily chart, that's the high of yesterday's day. Or if you're in an hourly chart, it's the high of the previous hourly session. Subsequently, the second level support and resistance level is the pivot minus support one that it was already calculated plus the resistance one that it was already calculated. While support two is the pivot point minus the resistance one minus the plus the support one. So this is like the mathematics on the background of pivot point analysis. Just in case you want to double check whether it gives you the correct level, so you prefer calculate it yourself. This is these simple mathematical formulas are the ones that actually give us the pivot point level and the support and resistance levels as well. So that was the mathematical on the back of pivot point analysis. So another thing that I have to mention is that if despite the hot forex pivot point indicator for MT4 that is downloaded, can be downloaded with the premium traders tool package, you can also, let me find it for you. You can also we also offer in our website. Let me put in so hot forex. So over here, sorry, in the hotforex.com. So if you go through tools, trading calculators, okay, there is a pivot point calculator in the trading calculators in hot forex. So you can use this calculator to by just simply writing down the high price, the low price, the close price, and the current price of the asset, and it automatically calculates for you up to 4 resistance levels and up to 4 support levels along with the pivot points. So if let's say, let me do a demonstration for you. So for For gold, I have an open price yesterday at 1207. 1207. Oh, sorry. High price 1216. That is yesterday performance. Close price at 1210.87. And the current price is actually now at 1210.84. So if I just write down high price 12:16:12 of the previous sessions, also yesterday's sessions, the low price was 1207. Sorry, is that what's 1207? Low is at 1207.11. Yes, indeed, 1207.11. Close price at 1210.87. That's it. And it's currently very close to the close price, yesterday's close price, 1210.84. So if I calculate that, immediately I have any possible resistance support levels, and people put that that this calculator can give me in a different model. So what you can see over here is different ways of calculating that have been invented so far. So pivot points and support levels, you can use them easily, because if your asset is moving above the pivot point, that means that it's give you an increase of the bullish momentum. If it breaks even the first immediate resistance, then it is likely to retest the second resistance. On the other hand, if it moves below pivot point, is likely to retest the first immediate support at 1206. If it breaks below that, then the next support to be watched is 1202. So it's likely to retest this area to the downside, because simply by the move below pivot point, especially with the break of the first immediate support level, this suggests that bears are gaining the control, so it's likely to see a move lower. Simple as that. Break, move above or below the pivot point, and any break of support suggests bearish sentiment. Any break of resistance above resistance suggests a bullish sentiment. Okay, simple as that. So let's go through. I'm not sure if I understood what you're asking, Henrik. Could you say which pivot level is the strongest? It's a single pivot point. The rest are support and resistance area. Yeah, they're very, very close to each other, Joel. So if you prefer to use the online calculator, yes, use the one that gives you, use the floor one, or the one that actually gives you more support and resistance levels than any other one. However, as I mentioned, we providing MT4 indicator, pivot point indicator, that you can use if you don't want to manually adding the prices in the online calculator. So we provide both. It's up to you to use the one that suits your trading style the most. But what I have to mention is that the online calculator is strictly likewise the indicator, the MT4 indicator, can be used in any time frame. So if you want an hourly support and resistance levels, the only thing that you have to do is find out the last sessions, the last hourly session, the last candle, the high, low, and close price of the last candle, the current open price of the next hour, of the next hourly session, and just calculate. As simple as that. Okay, there are insignificant difference between floor pivot point, woody pivot points, camarilla pivot point, and the mark pivot point. So don't worry about it. Don't worry which one you must choose. There are significant differences. The difference is in the formulas, the mathematical formulas. But if you notice, they are very, very close to each. The results are very, very close to each other. Okay, let's move on. Example. Any other question before? Can indicate a good place to end. Exactly, Patricia. Exactly, Patricia. So indeed, pivot point can indicate a good place to enter or exit a trade. Exactly. It's simply support. It's the same way that you are trading support and resistance level. This is what actually pivot point is suggesting to you. Okay. On the failure of support, you know that is likely to move to the downside, or on any kind of that the support is holding very, very strongly and your pair cannot move, cannot break your support, then it suggests you that okay, bulls are likely to are gaining, are entering the market, and they try to control the assets, so it's likely to see a reversal to this support level. So treat it as normal support and resistance level, because this is what it actually gives to you. It gives you immediate support and resistance levels. Is the calculation something special from? I'm not sure if I understand this question. Okay, I will reply later. Okay, so let's see the example, an example of pivot point calculation. So over here in this slide, you can see dollar CAD in a 4-hour chart. So based on the mathematical formulas, we end up with this corresponding resistance support levels. So our pivot point is at 1.2851. So this is this blue line. I'm not sure it's very clear, this blue line over here. While resistance and support levels are these that I have mentioned over here. So what you have seen that my dollar CAD pair is moving below the pivot point. So 1, 2, 3 sessions, 4-hour session, it is moving below pivot point, break support 1, and is currently moving towards S2 as well. So what that suggests to you, once you have seen that it moves below pivot point and actually break even S1, what that suggests to you guys, according to what we have seen so far in this session? What does the move below the pivot point and the break and closing of the 4-hour session below S1, below support 1, what does suggest to you? Anyone? Bearish market. Indeed, we have seen that there is an increase of the downside momentum. So you could an example of entry in this kind of in this example is that if, let's say, you want to enter, you want to take that trade to the downside in a short position, what you could do is that you could enter short with the next target down to S2 at 128.13. So this will actually give you a risk and reward ratio of 1.8. How I have calculated this risk and reward ratio is due to is the difference. Okay, 38 is the difference between resistance 1, which you will set your stop loss. Okay, so it's the difference between resistance 1 and support 1, which is 38 pips above, okay? And the difference between support 1 and support 2, which is your target, is 21 pips. So you have a risk and reward ratio of 1.80, 38 to 1. Is simply is based on where you want to where you have you have put your stop loss. I have put it in the resistance 1 area, and I have put my target at S2 since I have seen this break of support 1, and that suggests me that it's likely to retest support 2 at 1.2830. Okay, it's up to you what stop loss you want to use. If you want to gain more and you want to increase your risk and reward ratio, to increase your risk and reward, you could put a tighter stop loss like on pivot point, but this could be end up otherwise. I mean, it's very, very easy to move like just 10 pips above and he retest again his pivot point. So it's up to your trading style though. However, you could, with this difference between the S1 and R1 and the difference between S1 and S2, which your target and support levels, you could actually find out also your risk and reward ratio using pivot points as a stop loss and target levels. Okay. Can we put stop loss? Yes, indeed, we can. So the reason why I use R1 is because, except from that, is my immediate resistance area. It also coincides with my previous upper fractal. So that gives a good stop loss level, a good resistance level. It coincides with the latest up fractal and with two latest up fractal actually, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles for 6 sessions. My pair didn't manage to break above R1, so it's a very strong resistance level. While on the other hand, pivot point in this area is not. It was hidden many, many times during this session. So, okay, you might end up with less losses because you have a tight stop loss, but on the other hand, they might ruin your entry. You might stop out because it went towards pivot point before correcting to the downside. So it has the risk of being stopped out very, very quickly. Okay, so let's move on. So as I already mentioned, they are considered to be successful since they are completely objective. So here we have some stats taken from Investopedia. So it's based on statistics. Calculated pivot points of support 1 and resistance 1 are a digit code of the actual high and low of the trading day. So by calculating the number of days that the low was lower than each support levels and the number of days that the high was higher than each resistance 1, resistance 2, and resistance 3. So you will see in the example how reliable the pivot points are. And if you can see the percentages are quite good. So in the first one, this is a very, very actually good useful information for traders. So if you know that the pair slips, this percentage, I'm explaining this percentages, guys. So if you know that the pair slips below 44% of the time, you can place a stop below support 1 with confidence, understanding the probability is on your side. Additionally, you may want to take profit just below resistance 1. So because you know that the high of the day exists only 42% of the time, again, the probabilities are with you. It is important to understand these probabilities are working, the certain and not certainties. So on average, the high is 1 pip below resistance 1 and exists R1 42% of time. So what this means, it either means that the high will exist R1 4 days out of 10, okay? 4 days out of 10. Or that the high is always going to be 1 pip below R1. So if you have seen your pair moving above pivot points, so it's likely to test R1 and go just with 42% of going just a pip above your immediate resistance at R1. So the powerful of this information is the fact that you can confidently code the potential support and resistance level ahead of time once again. And you have reference points to place stop and limit, and most importantly, to limit your risk. And of course, to putting yourself in a position to profit. So have a look on these percentages. As I already mentioned, this means that 4 days out of 10, your the high will be just a pip above your immediate resistance, or this is the most important one. The rest are quite lower. So this is a result that has been excluded from 2,000 trading days since the inception of the euro of 12th of October 2006. So this, if you're trading with euro crosses, this is something that you have to take to have in mind. Okay, this percentage, these probabilities, and not certainties, as I already mentioned. Okay, what else? So as we already mentioned, pivot point it can be, it is actually a pivot, a potential support and resistance, and in this way we must treat them. So it's the combination of pivot points and traditional technical tools is far more powerful than technical tools alone. So combine them. As you can see, my MT4, I have my pivot point analysis over here, but if I always use at the top RSI, if you're not fan of RSI, you can use MACD. Combine it. You can either combine it with moving average. So let me put another example on, maybe euro dollar or something. Cable, let's see cable. Okay, so cable today at 9 o'clock in the morning, the opening of EU session, it broke below the pivot point analysis. On the same time, it broke below, it moved below the 20 moving average, which is this green line over here. It broke also 9 and 5 exponential moving average. So we have 3 things so far suggesting a bearish sentiment. At the same time, my RSI was below 50, was actually 40. So looking to the downside, so below the neutral zone at 40, looking to the downside, something that suggests and confirms the increase of bearish movement. And indeed, in 2 hours time, it breaks sharply. Let me zoom in. It breaks sharply S1. At the same time, it breaks outside Bollinger Bands. Another sign that the steam to the downwards is very, very strong and is likely to continue to the downside. And indeed, that happened. It moved. It broke S2 and moved below the third support of the day at 128.60. So there was a lot of opportunities to enter short in this asset. There were many opportunities today. So why pound is so weak? That is mainly due to the Brexit uncertainty in general. In general, why I cannot see your name though? Okay, I have no idea. So, oh, Joel, you have entered with two different. Oh, some of your comments I can see your name, but some I cannot. Okay, so yeah, that is I have write down today an analysis for the cable, but also in general for pound. So Brexit remains uncertainty, remains something that discounts the pound nearly 80%. So that's why, despite the dollar weakness that we have seen yesterday, uh, pound remains one of the weakest currencies the last few weeks. Okay, let's move on. We are nearly done with our session. 10 minutes left. So anything you want to ask me, just go for it. So very, very, very important is to have in mind some rules when you're using pivot points. So first of all, if you have identified a bearish momentum, so you want to enter the market short, so take care about, pay attention please on this slide, okay? If you have identified, as I said, bearish momentum and you want to enter the market short, so you need something that you need to have in mind is like to confirm that your price broke pivot point to the downside, to downwards. It's like the example that we have seen with gold, with a cable, sorry, with cable, with pound. So this automatically alerts a selling opportunity. So what you have to have in mind is that you have to set your stop loss above the immediate resistance level, or if you don't, if you don't find reasonable enough to set it above resistance level, then it should be above the recent swing high. It's like this example that I show you with dollar CAD. So from one hand, I chose to put it on the resistance level because it's what it was calculated and suggested by the pivot point analysis. But this level was, I considered this level to be very, very strong resistance area because it has two consecutive swing highs, okay, two consecutive up fractals, and it was tested many, many times. And we can see that for many, many sessions, our pair was unable to break above that. So you could either put it on the above the resistance, the immediate resistance level, or above the recent swing. In this situation, the recent swing high coincides with R1. But if I go back to my my cable trade over here, if let's say I enter the market at this area over here, or at this break of the support one, your stop loss could be either at R1 or either at this up fractal over here at 129.59, or at the latest swing high, which is the previous hourly session, 129.46, depending when you enter the market. If you entered the market on the break of S1, so that was 129.04, then you might consider your stop loss being at the latest swing high, 129.46, or 129.30, which was the peak of the previous hourly session. Okay. So rule one: stop loss above resistance level or recent swing high in a short position, always confirming whether you have seen a broke of pivot point to the downwards. The initial take profit level should be placed at the next pivot point level. So your target would be on the next consecutive pivot point level. So if you have entered, if your price moving below resistance 2, then your target should be on resistance 1, which is lower than resistance 2. If your price moved below support 1, then your target should be at support 2. Okay, so the next pivot point level should be considered as your initial take profit level. On the other hand, if you are entering long, first of all, you have to identify bullish momentum at the pivot points, pivot point S1, S2, and S3. So if the price breaks above pivot points, that's a buying opportunity, of course, if it moves above your pivot points. So your stop loss could be placed on the immediate support level or at the recent swing low. Okay, while your initial take profit level should be placed at the next consecutive pivot point level. So if you enter long at support 2, then target should be at S1. So let me find an example for you. Let's check. Okay, yeah, dollar yen is a good example actually. So it was yen was on beat today. It moved down, moving below PP level, pivot point level, break below S1, but it held above S2. So we have seen some consolidation, and we have seen that it's moving upwards to the upside right now, and it's currently consolidated above S1. So on the closing of this, so if your asset is holding above S1, okay, it's moving above S1. That's let's say we could say that that's a buying opportunity. So your support level could be either in the latest swing low 110.82 or S2 or the consecutive or your next support level, with the target profit up to the next pivot level, which is at 111.27. That's a way that you should treat the pivot point analysis, pivot point levels. So just a tip, don't trade pivots on news release or whenever the market is extremely volatile because something is happening. We might have some geopolitical news, trade war news, or just data releasement. Don't trade pivots on any kind of new release. And this is actually is something that you need to take care in general, like on NFP day, on the NFP data announcement. Stay away. Wait for this. The NFP is traditionally causing us extremely volatility in the market, so it's good to close your position prior the data release. Wait until everything is calmed down and then get it back to the market. Don't trade on news release. So that was all. That was actually we end up with the pivot point analysis webinar. So now, guys, is the time to ask anything you want. We have already run out of time, but I will stay here until I reply to any kind of question that you have, any doubts that you have, anything, just stick it in the box right now. I think I replied to everything so far. Would lead to water down of the I'm not sure if I understood Shank's question. Would over indicator lead to what of its effectiveness of giving the edge? I'm not sure. I don't understand this question. Sorry. So don't forget, Patricia is saying I will definitely use them. Don't forget, Patricia, to combine it with something else. Whatever you're using already, leave it as it is and use also pivot points. Combine them. Check check RSI with pivot, check your moving average with pivots, or Bollinger Bands if you are using Bollinger Bands. Combine it to give you more confidence and confirmation for your potential entry. I will, yes, we will send recordings as soon as we end up with this session. Don't worry about it, Victor. What is the best time frame to be effective? What I'm usually doing, Salum, okay, there is no best time frame because it can be given in any single time frame that you're using. What do you usually, how do you usually trade, Salum? Intraday, daily, weekly, hourly? What are you usually doing? What's your intraday? So I assume 4 hours and less than 4 hours, right? So what you could do, let's say if you're an hourly trader, like this dollar yen cross that I have over here is in an hourly time frame. So what you can do is go to, okay, right click, indicators list. I'm clicking on hot forex pivot, edit, and I'm choosing the hourly basis. So that gives me tighter resistance and support levels, you see? Because if you're an intraday trader and an hourly one, let's say, you have immediate tighter support and resistance levels. So right now, my asset is moving, is currently above pivot point. So if I go to the 30-minute chart, I can see that it is in the upside and it's currently moving above 111.08, which is my pivot point, is moving above 5 and 9 exponential moving average. It's consolidated around 20 period moving average. So this, how we could read that? Okay, it's above the pivot point, it's moving above the pivot, so that is a bullish sentiment. At the same time, my RSI is at 50, is quite neutral. It doesn't, it's at 50, 48. Doesn't actually give me any kind of, it doesn't give me confirmation of a bullish sentiment. However, I can see that it is in an increasing upwards movement. You have seen that it went down, it drifted to 15 oversold area, but since then, since 10 o'clock this morning, is continually going upwards and upwards, upwards. This is something that suggests the increase of bullish sentiment as well. On the other hand, as I said, there it is moving above the two intraday moving average that I use, 5 and 9. So the fact that, if you zoom out, I cannot zoom in. The blue line, if you can see it, is the 5 exponential moving average, and the yellow one is the 9 exponential moving average. So the fact that 5 moving average is above the 9 one, so is the faster one is above the slowest one, gives me another sign that we have a bullish sentiment. So, so it's something that suggests further steam to the upside. Okay, this is how you have to treat it. Combine it with different indicators. Read your candles. The last one was a big body one in the 30-minute chart. In the 1 hourly, two quite full body ones with small tails on the upside. So this suggests that it's likely to continue in the short time frame like that. So this is how you'd be treated. You should treat your support and resistance levels. I use MACD and RSI. Good, Patricia. Entry at S2 target will be S1. So entry at S2 target. Yes. What about entry at R2? What will be the? I'm not sure if I've get this net zone. So entry at S2 target would be at S1 if you've seen some. If you see the S2 to be supported. So if you have seen a swing higher above S2, so you want to enter long, I assume, like on what you're saying right now. What about entry at R2? That would be the target. It depends. It depends what they taught you. You're entering R2 because you see that it broke and moved above R2. So the next level to be triggered on a long trade, on a long position, if it broke and closed the session above R2, is the R3. If, however, it fails to sustain any gains above R2 and it closed below R2, then it's likely to move down to R1 again. I'm not sure. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so if let's say, let me go back. So let me find another example. You see? Okay. If I understood what you're saying, so on the break, see, it moved above pivot point, it crossed and closed these hourly sessions for 1, 2, 3 times above R1. So what we expect is that what we are like seeing from this chart is that the bullish sentiment is increasing. So the next, on the closing above R1, we expect it to retest R2. In this situation, it did happen. It did retest R2 and actually broke and closed above R2. Okay, so on the break and closing of the session above your resistance level, the immediate resistance suggests that it is likely to retest the next consecutive resistance level. On the other hand, if you're in a downside and it's closed below the immediate support level, so the next is likely to retest the next consecutive support level. Okay. Usually trade on a 4-hour and daily basis. We should wait for market to reach pivot for the next trade. Yeah, we need to see a confirmation of a break of the pivot point. Either that should be the pivot point or the immediate support or the first immediate resistance level. You need to confirm the breakout. Okay. Yes, you can use your pivot point, the pivot point on your MT4. As I said, is in the premium traders tools, and it's over here. You just drag and drop it and you apply it in your MT4 platform. Just the only thing that you have to do is just change the time frame based on your trading style. Okay. So anything else, guys? Anything else that okay? How do you determine if you target the immediate level or a further one of the high risk to? How do you determine if you target the immediate level or further one of the higher risk to reward ratio? Okay, I see. Okay, so we are quite greedy if we like put a very high, okay, I see what you mean, Joel. So how you can determine that your target is the next immediate one or the further one, so in order to benefit more. So what you could actually do is like for something like that, you need to what I'm usually doing actually is like, as I said, on the to keep the risk and reward ratio reasonable enough and to reduce your losses, you need to set your targets reasonable enough. If you, let's say, put a very high level of your take can profit level is very high, it might never be reached. You see, on this situation, exactly on this situation over here in the euro pound, indeed it moved above R2 but never reached up to now R3. So if you are like greedy and you just enter the market long on the break of R1 and put your target on R3, it might never be reached. It might reverse to the downside. So what you have to do, what it's good for you to do is like set your immediate target profit at R2 and then say if that breaks, okay, then my next consecutive target will be R3, sorry. So also it's good to add volume to check the volume in the market. So if the volume is extremely high, then it means that is likely to see further moves to the upside. But this confirmation can be given also with the RSI. So you see, at this time, when I was my euro pound cross was above R1, RSI was already in the overbought territory. Okay, so that suggests that it is already overbought. So once it is already overbought, we might see corrections to the downside. So don't risk it. So, okay, if you're not sure, you want further confirmation, use RSI. If it is in the overbought territory, so it says that it is likely to see a correction to the downside. So R3 might not be so easy to be hit, okay, to be reached, because we are already overbought in the 1 hour session, in the 1 hour time frame. In the 4 hour, indeed the same, is already at 84. Not further steam to the upside, is already in the overbought territory. So it suggests that it's likely to see a correction to the downside because it is already overbought. So R2 in this situation was sufficient target to be set and a safer target to be set. Okay, safer level to be set because our asset was already overbought. That's it, Joy. Hopefully I replied to your question. So read the momentum indicators. Momentum indicators will suggest you whether you have further steam to the upside or to the downside, or you're likely to be already in the overbought or oversold territories. Okay, that's why it's good to combine pivots with momentum indicators. So that was all for me for today. Hopefully you enjoyed today's session. I assume that everyone is okay. Hopefully I haven't left any question behind. That was all from me. Anything that you want to ask further, just email it at webinars@hotforex.com. So I'll give some few minutes for questions. So the upcoming webinars are tomorrow with Otto, what is the trading strategy? The next one is every Tuesday we have live analysis with Stuart, so you can show up and ask anything you want regarding the market. Stuart will be here to help you with anything you want to ask, with any kind of asset and why it is moving the way it is moving, why we've seen market moving like that. So Stuart will be here to reply to you and to help you with your trading system and your trading style. So on next Wednesday we have trading with Bollinger Bands. You have seen that I am using Bollinger Bands in my MT4. They are very, very helpful because they provide exponential. They provide moving average along with some edge levels of the pair movement of the trend. So it provides us some kind of support and resistance levels as well, and some breakout levels to be watched. So pivot points on next Wednesday, and on the 22nd of August, intraday price action strategy with Stuart again. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Have a nice trading session for the rest of the day, and see you next week. Bye bye.